Good afternoon, Quest for Thunder. Saturday, and we're here at the boat again, working on the floor. We got the last little bit of the floor ready to come out. This last piece of subfloor over here in the aft cabin, it's the last part that we're taking out. The teak and holly that you see up above and over here on this side is in fairly good shape, so we're just going to leave that and we're going to sand it down and refinish it. But it's in fairly good shape. So once I get this piece out, all the flooring's out, and then we'll clean up down in here. As you can see, this hull part hasn't been cleaned yet, and so it needs to be cleaned, but we're waiting to get this piece of floor out. But as is always the case in these old boats, you find a lot of dead-end cables that don't seem to be connected to anything. And you're like, what in the world is that for? And old equipment that's been removed or is no longer functional or whatever, they disconnect, but they leave a piece of cable. And so we run into this a lot. And it's important to get rid of it because it's confusing, and you just don't need it. So what we do, and last week Gene traced these out of the engine compartment back to here to figure out that they run underneath this bunk, which is probably to the old, more than likely to the old autopilot unit that's under here that isn't used any longer, and so they're of no value. So what we're going to do is right now I'm just going to cut them away right here because I need to be able to get. Oh wait a minute. That one I can probably just pull out.
Yeah, it's loose.
There we go.
Oh, loose end.
Loose end. So I didn't have to cut that one. Let's see about this black one. See if it'll come out too. No, not so much with that one. So we'll have to cut that one. Just cut it off here so it's out of the way while I'm working. And then just throw these away. A bunch more over here that Gene already cut out. It's just like, it's amazing what you discover in an old boat. So you gotta take these up forward and throw them away. Give them to Jean, she can do that. And now what I'm gonna do is I've got this piece of subfloor that still needs to come out here. And so there's a couple of places where the screws have stripped out. And so I've got to get in here and of course makes it harder to work because I took part of the floor out already. But I got to get in here, and I got to use an extracting tool to get these Oops. I bumped it and the battery came off. So you can see these are brass screws, and you can see where the brass shavings are. This thing files out the middle of the screw, and then you turn it over. I think we may have demonstrated this once before. And this is a burr, and it's supposed to grab the screw and extract it. But what I've been finding is the issue here is that these screws, because they're brass, they're so soft that when I go to grab it with the burr, it doesn't grab. So this is the case here. And so what I wind up doing is I wind up drilling them out. And I probably should have just done that from the start. Save myself the hassle. But I thought maybe I could extract it. I don't like drilling them out because it drills into the cross member. And that affects the integrity of the cross member, and I really don't like doing that. So anyway, drill bit, screw head. Basically just filing down that screw head so that I can pull the board off. another one right there, but I gotta open this door to be able to get to it. Here's another one.
Oh, that's stubborn.
Yeah, that should do it though. Oh, one more right here.
See all the shavings. Can't see what I'm filming.
I'm basically just tearing a big hole in the board so that I can pull the
Right out.
board up around the screw head, and then I can take the drill afterwards and clamp onto the screw head and extract it that way. So now it's time to take out the subfloor, cut around the sides of the
So what's that you're using there?
This is just a flush cut bit for flush cutting with a multi-tool with a
Flesh cutting.
flush, not flesh. So it's just a bit that goes on here so you can get up against something flush like that. Is there enough light?
I think so.
So you can see how it gets up against the bulkhead flush to cut.
Zoom in a little bit better.
No, you don't need to zoom in.
There.
So just get up against the bulkhead so I can cut away around the bulkhead. It's going to be too noisy, so we'll get back to you after we're done. I'll show you.
Get your earplugs on, hon.
Yeah, I don't have them. All right, as you can see, the last part of the floor in the aft cabin is now completely out. So you can see this little compartment right here. The floor is kind of dark in color right now because it's all wet because I've cleaned it with degreaser. See my foot. But yeah, this is where the aft cabin flooring was. So this is the last of it that needed to come out before we could start putting the subfloor back in. So it's a good thing. We're at a point where we can start reinstalling the subfloor. That's a good thing. Gonna need to put a piece of wood right there for the floor to rest on since I had to cut it away. So I'll just screw into that piece of wood that's underneath there and provide a shelf for the subfloor and the finished floor to sit on. And the rest of it sits on the stringer here, these stringers here. I might add a crossbar here and maybe a crossbar there. I'm not sure yet. But maybe it's a small space. It's a small enough space that the floor won't flex too much because it's not that big. So it should be okay, but we'll see. If I need to, I can always unscrew the subfloor and put the cross members in before I put the finished floor in. So, yep. A little bit in the engine compartment, cleaned a little in there. A little degreasing right here in the front part. Some of these areas are. So they look a lot better. Yep. There's the Westerbeek 58 horse right there. Old Westerbeek. Runs pretty freaking good. I'm really surprised. As old as it is, doesn't have a whole lot of hours on it as far as the Hobbs meter is concerned, if the Hobbs meter is accurate. So I can't tell about that stuff. But anyway, Made some progress back here. Now just got to get the wood for the subfloor and get it back in. Well, hello, Quest for Thunder. Saturday what is today? The 11th of May. Today we're going to be reinforcing some of these stringers down here. There are a few that are loose that just need to be a couple extra screws put in them, so we're going to take care of that today. And I was going to try to do some painting to seal in any kind of smell or anything like that that might have soaked into the wood, using a Kills type of primer. The original, which is the heavy duty Kills, seals in stains, it seals in odors. It's really good for stuff like that. So we're going to put that on all the stringers just in case, and then the edges of any exposed wood that we cut away to seal it up. But the wood is still a little wet from when we cleaned it, and I think in some places it probably needs a little more cleaning, and so I think we'll wait on the painting, but I'll go ahead and get it reinforced today. So what I'm doing, and I'll show you here, it's pretty simple. Alright, so back here in the aft cabin there's a section where the stringers were obviously they had given way. You can see where I have that clamp. So that's where we're going to toenail into that stringer, into this piece of wood here, into the solid piece of wood. We're going to toenail into that on this side, right here with this screw going in there to shore up this stringer. And then once I get this piece of flooring out, then on the other side of this stringer I'll do the same thing. I'll put another screw in there, and that will support the stringer. Same thing we did over here. I had to do the same thing because this stringer was in the same situation as that one. It had come detached from here, from this stringer here, and so I had to shore it up. So it's what we did. This is an old screw from the flooring. I just need to get it out. Here's another one from when the flooring was in. And then yeah, so that's what I'm going to do right now. Shore this up, remove this piece, and then I'm going to need to replace this pump right here. This is an old pump. It works, but it doesn't work very well. So I'm going to, while I have access to it, I'm going to go ahead and replace it. I have another pump to replace it with. On these stringers, I'm using these 2.5 inch galvanized exterior type screws, construction screws. I was going to use stainless steel, but to be honest with you, the cost, the fact that these stringers are probably not going to be exposed to any kind of water, and the fact that they didn't use a stainless steel screw to begin with, I'm thinking that these are probably going to work just fine. So now I've put that one screw in, backed up the clamp, and now I've got to put one into the top and toenail down from the top. So that's what I'm going to do next. We have these stringers. They go from bulkhead to bulkhead, and as you can see, they're in a pattern, and this is to allow for the subfloor to sit on top of it, and then for the on top of the subfloor will be the finished floor. And so some of these are loose. I've already fixed this one here, which was really loose, and I've just screwed in a couple of extra stainless steel screws. You can see how this one is a little loose, wiggles just a little bit. This is not too bad. The load will be borne up here anyway, but I don't want this frame given away. But some of these, like this one here, so you can see how it turns. It's going to need to get toenail screwed into there, so you can't reach it through here. And then we've got a couple like this one here that's really loose. That needs to get tightened up. This one here also. And this one has been displaced down. I'm gonna have to hammer that up and get this one screwed in. Gonna have to toenail screw this one in too because of the nature of the way it's installed. But yep, so that's what I'm doing today. Just shoring these things up to make sure they're nice and firm, and we don't have any issues. We don't want any issues when we put the floor back down. We want it all to be nice and solid. So just going around and making sure that everything is nice and solid and secure. So that's what I'm up to today. Alright, so we've reinforced all of these stringers that were loose. As you can see here, just screwed a stainless steel screw through that board there to secure it to the stringer behind it, which was already in good shape. And then on some of these other ones, like this one right here, I screwed a couple of screws into there. I already had one, so I just put another one in. Stainless steel screw, so that's secure. Same thing over here. So these are nice and secure now. And that shores up this area pretty good. Over here, we had a section right here where the stringer had actually slipped and was down. Had slipped down, and so I had to bring it back up. And then because I can't screw from this side into it, I had to toenail a screw in there. So that's what I did. I think you can see that here. It's screwed in there. This is chewed up from the previous where the subfloor was. My drill went down in there and caught that. I was trying to drill out a screw. And same thing with this one. With this stringer here, I just put a stainless steel screw to firm it all up and get it all set. That right there, that pump right there is the new shower sump pump that I put in some time ago. Had this floor been up then, it sure would have been a lot easier to put that in. I was hanging upside down with my head down in there, trying to get that blooming thing up installed in there. So anyway, and then same thing back in the back here in the aft cabin area. Same deal. Had to do a little work. That cross member you see right there, that one was just loose in there. Didn't really have anything holding it, so I screwed it in from one side, and then I toenailed it on, and then I screwed it in on this side as well, on both sides, so it's nice and sturdy now. And then right here also, this board here was kind of floppy, but it doesn't go all the way down behind this piece here. It only goes down a little bit, so I had to screw into this by screwing up through this board, but I had to do it in an up angle to be able to engage that, because I can't get a screwdriver or a drill or anything behind it. There's too much stuff back there. So that took a little bit of time. And then back here in the back, in the aft cabin, there's a section back here. Now, this floor just came up recently, so it hasn't been cleaned, so you can tell the difference between the cleaned fiberglass and the not cleaned fiberglass. So you can see what 30 years of yuck looks like compared to after and we need to do another degreasing. So one was good, but it wasn't enough. So anyway, this board right here was also loose, and so when you stepped on it, the floor deflected quite a bit. It's been too much time here, a couple hours. The weather's just been so nasty. It's just nobody wants to go out in it. And I have to keep the boat closed up while I'm here because of the rain, and it gets hot and stuffy in here and I don't like it. So Just kind of kept it short today. Went to the store, got stainless steel screws, got some paint to do the stringers. We've been talking about the bilge. We've considered painting the bilge, but then again, we're like, well, you know, the floor's going to be on it. Nobody's going to see it. Is it really worth the extra effort and the money and the expense to paint the bilge? It's just fiberglass. And I think the consensus is no, we're not going to do it. I mean, I can't think of any real reason why we should, outside of maybe locking in some smells, but I don't know if the fiberglass really is absorbing that much anyway. It's mostly the wood, the porous materials. So yeah, anyway, that's what we're up to. Pretty soon, once we get this subfloor in, we'll be changing out the range. We'll be changing out that. We'll also be putting in the hull liner, and we'll be gluing that into place in both in the aft cabin, a little bit in here in the main cabin and around the nav station, and we'll get that done. And then all the major stuff will be actually finished. We can start focusing on some of these little small things like, you know, sanding and varnishing and trim work and stuff like that needs. I mean, there's still pieces of trim in various places around here that need to be fixed. So, but it's coming, and you know, finish getting the lights up in the heads. So, yeah, still a lot to do, but we're moving forward. I think we're going to clean this bilge and these stringers one more time. Still got a bit of a funky smell in here. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it's still there. And I think it might not be a bad idea to just give them one more good degreasing before we seal it up. Also, while I've got the floor open, I'm going to try to figure out what kind of electronics I'm going to need, because I can run a lot of the cables around under the floor with it up. Okay, well, thank you for stopping by, you guys. I appreciate your watching, and I really appreciate any comments and suggestions that you might have. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Also, it would be great if you could give us a thumbs up, some sort of interaction. It helps with the algorithm, and our website, our YouTube channel gets out to more people. More people get to see it, and we really enjoy making these videos and showing you what we're doing. But what we like best is we like hearing back, because I mean, as we're doing stuff, people can talk to us about the stuff, and we learn, because we just don't know what we're doing. We're just we're winging this as we go along. I mean, we're trying to use some common sense, and you know, we do some research, but sure would be nice if we could develop a community here, and we could talk to one another. That'd be really wonderful. So thank you again, and I hope you come back, and we look forward to seeing you again next time. So in the meantime, from the crew of Thunder, fair winds and following seas. Bye.